Rise and Grind Podcast, Episode 8. Here we are. We are rocking and rolling. And a few housekeeping items I want to get through before we introduce our next guest. First off, just saying thank you to the listeners out there, and the support of the podcast has been amazing. And ultimately, I'm not doing this for views. I'm not doing this for to look at how many hours of engagement it's gotten or watch time or anything like that. I genuinely want to give a platform for not only local people to have a voice or to share their stories, but for other rising grinders that I know to share their stories, because I know that the more that people share their stories, the more other people can maybe learn from them, and also encourage them. I've said this before, to share your own story, because gosh, like that last episode with Dylan Eckes, we were talking about how being vulnerable in a community can literally change your life. And I think that's very important, especially right now with everything that's going on, everything that is life. And the second thing I wanted to mention, and I've had a few people ask me this in passing, is like, what's the intent of the podcast? Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? Like, what's going on? And my answer is pretty simple at this point. I just want to talk with people that I'm interested in talking to and get to fucking 21 episodes. Why 21 episodes? Well, if you use the Google machine, and I did this before I started the podcast, is if you look at the top 1% of podcasts ever made, 99% of them don't make it to episode 21. So you could argue that to be in the top 1% of podcasts, all you have to do is publish 21 episodes, which is crazy. Yes, there's other metrics, views, watch time, whatever you want to call it. But we're getting to 21. We're going to see how it goes. I'm trying to get incrementally better at my interview skills or editing or upload speed or, my thumbnails. Just incrementally, just one thing better each time. And then I'll lift my head up after 21 and we'll see what happens. I'm not looking at views. I'm not looking at watch time. I do not want to, get into that realm of statistics, because to me, it doesn't really matter. I'm like, hey, I have my two criteria. Are they rising grinders, and are they people that I'm genuinely interested in talking to? And that's it. And I wanted to mention that before we get into this next guest, that guys, it's okay to win. It's okay to want to do better in your life. It's okay to want better for your family, for your financial well-being. It's okay to want to win. It's okay to see an opportunity and for you to actually capture it. I know in my life recently, I've almost felt guilty for like identifying a good opportunity and taking advantage of it myself. Because I always want to be like, oh no, well, let someone else do it. Or, hey, like, are you sure you really want to do this? Like feeling like, it's almost too good to be true. But I want you to hear it from the bottom of my heart that it's okay to want more. It's okay to want to win. And our next guest is the definition of a winner. He is my good friend, Gavin Broadhead. And Gavin wears many hats, and he is excellent at all of them. He runs a roofing company, lays shingles in the summertime. So if you're looking to get your roof done, Gavin's your guy. He's an absolute workhorse. He legitimately enjoys laying shingles, which is crazy. You can literally hear the passion in it when we talk about it in this episode. Not only that, but more importantly, he's the assistant coach for SAHA Hockey Academy here in Medicine Hat. And the academy world of hockey is very, very interesting to me, because it's totally different than when I grew up in minor hockey in Medicine Hat here. And we get into that. We get into all the added benefits of being in an academy and how that's set up and how they recruit players and the way that those young men are getting better at their skill set. And we get into his coaching style versus how maybe some of his coaches were growing up as well. But the underlying awesomeness to Gavin is his story. He's from the Northwest Territories. His parents had to drive ridiculous hours for just the opportunity to play ice hockey. Gavin was a Medicine Hat Tiger, and now he resides here in Medicine Hat. Not only all of that, guys, he is world class at cycling. He literally just one day decided that he was going to cycle, and he has absolutely stormed through the Alberta ranks. And he basically wins every single cycling contest that he competes in Western Canada. And cycling is not only a mentally taxing endeavor, but it's very, very physical. Gavin was a speed skater on the Olympic trials at one point. Like, just Google his name. It's just results after results after results. And you want to talk about a guy that gives himself permission to win. That is Gavin. We talk about winning. It's like the most addictive drug of all time, and that's okay, guys. that is okay. So, without further ado, Gavin Broadhead, hope you enjoy. All right, here with my good friend Gavin Broadhead. How are you, brother?
Excellent, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I have a lot of things I want to get into in the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes, or however long this goes. But man, I want to start off and kind of throw the ball in your court and ask the question like, when someone meets you and asks like, "Hey, Gavin, what do you do for work?" Like, what do you say? Because I know you do so many things really, really well at a high level. How do you even respond, or what is your initial response to something like that?
Well, I tell them I'm a hockey coach because that's my primary job. That's my, I guess, kind of like home base with the work. That's the one that's there all the time. I get paid on a monthly salary for that. So I know as long as I have that, then I've got all my bases covered for payments and whatever. And on top of that, I do some roofing. I always bring that up because
Yeah,
shingles don't last long on houses. So people, just putting it out there whenever I meet people that I do roofing, that leads to a lot of jobs for sure. I I'm a strength coach for whoever wants to hire me. I'll take on private clients for strength and conditioning. And then in the last 2 years, I got into like corporate merchandise and like team gear. So just like hockey jerseys, tracksuits, hats for golf courses, whatever, all that stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got going on for work. And the hockey job is on most of the time, and the other jobs I can kind of turn them on and off as I please, which is nice to be able to have a little breather when I feel like it's too much.
there. Yeah, no doubt. Any one of those things is like a full time gig, and I also know on top of all of that, I mean, the title of this podcast is Rise and Grind, and I don't know if there's a person that embodies that more than you do with your work ethic and competing in your cycling as well. And I kind of want to take it chunk by chunk here, but Gavin, if you don't mind, maybe rewind the clock because I know hockey is a big part of your life now and it has been for a very long time. I understand that you're not from Medicine Hat originally. Can you kind of give us the cliff notes of your journey to hockey and your kind of not your way through minor hockey into playing for the Tigers, but kind of just dive into that and let people know kind of your playing career and your credentials from that.
Yeah, well, I'm from the Northwest Territories in a little isolated community way up there called Hay River. And for us, hockey was just kind of a way of life. It's just what we did. We spent every lunch hour playing hockey. I would get off school or leave early. My teachers would let me leave early, go play hockey for an hour in a small town. There's lots of ice availability. And my dad was a hockey player. He played in the Western League. He played for the Tigers, so he was my hockey coach growing up, and I loved watching him play. And it just kind of I just had fun with it. I didn't start playing as early as most kids. Most kids start now probably like four. They're skating out there with a hockey stick and full hockey gear. I think I waited till I was 6 and I was just like playing on outdoor rinks and going to, it was called Mums and Tots skating with my dad. He would take me out there and yeah, I just loved it. I wanted to be like the other guys in Hay River that I thought were really good at hockey. I watched a lot of hockey because my dad was always playing. And back then it wasn't like beer league, it was like competitive men's hockey. And I really looked up to a lot of those guys and just loved being at the rink. So I grew up in the rink and loved it. When I got to be about 14, there just wasn't too much competition. It was hard to get games being so isolated and stuff. So my parents got me a tryout on a spring hockey team from Edmonton, and it's crazy on that team. Sorry, I guess I would before I was 14. This was happening. I moved away when I was 14, but I think maybe around 11 they started driving me to Edmonton for these spring hockey tournaments. I was on a team, and it's crazy because on that team, a lot of guys actually made it to pro and major junior hockey. So like my first experience getting out of the North, I was on like a really good team. And yeah, I just can't thank my parents enough. They drove crazy hours. Like we would drive 24 hours on a weekend just for 2 games.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so when you're from the North, there's only so much you can do, and they gave me every chance to be successful. So I did that for a few years, and then Bantam second year, which used to be the year that the Western Hockey League drafts players, I went to a hockey academy in Kelowna, kind of like the one I work at now, and had a great season there, had really good coaching. There was tons of really elite players. A couple of them ended up making pro and NHL. And yeah, I just had a really great experience, other than having a completely insane billet family, but that happens. But it was a good learning experience, and I got some good hockey in there. And that year, I got drafted by the Tigers.
So you would have been, sorry, Gavin, probably 14 at this time?
14,
Wow.
yeah, 14, 13, turning 14, Bantam second year. So fully moved away from home to Kelowna, and yeah, just had to start doing a lot of shit for myself. Like I would bike myself down to the rink to get to the rink in the morning. My billets weren't they didn't really know what billeting maybe should be like. They just thought it was an extra $700 to help pay off their mortgage, and
Gosh.
weren't the most into kind of like parenting a kid, which is kind of what it's like, and
Yeah.
a lot like the way my other billets handled it after them. Anyway, yeah, that was great. I got drafted by the Tigers, surprisingly decently high, 80th overall in Western Canada. And when you get picked around there, there's usually a good chance you'll end up making it. Like the scouts put a lot into it.
Yeah.
They're watching a lot of games. And the next year I was 15, and I knew that my parents had paid a lot of money for me to go to this hockey academy, and I felt really guilty about how much it cost them to send me to this hockey academy. So I wanted to take the load off them and just play like regular minor hockey, regular midget AAA hockey in a city. And the closest place to do that was Grand Prairie.
Gotcha.
Looking back on that, it probably wasn't the best decision, but I just I just felt guilty about how much it cost them to put me in hockey. It was about 35 grand back then, and I think it's still somewhere around that for most of these academies.
That's crazy. That's a big bill to be footing, right? Holy smokes.
It's huge. Not only that, the hockey sticks on top of that, the
Hmm.
skates, the travel for them to get down and watch. And I just wanted to give my best effort and really like do everything I could because I knew what a big commitment it was from them. And after my year in Grand Prairie, I came down to Medicine Hat to try out for the Tigers when I was 16, and stuck around for a while there. Ended up only playing 6 games that season and played the rest of the season in midget AAA locally in Medicine Hat. And then the next year, I cracked the Tigers and in the Western Hockey League, and that was a big jump. I probably was maybe a little bit underdeveloped in terms of thinking the game and playing in in a team structure. It had lots of skills and natural talent, but definitely it was a big jump, and I wasn't having a lot of success my first year.
Talk to me about that. Well, going from AAA or even Academy, and then you played AAA, and then making that jump to the Dub. Was it just hockey sense was the biggest jump that you needed to learn quickly, or talk me through kind of that learning process?
Well, I think part of the problem is, and it happens at like almost every jump as you go up for some players, if they have these like physical talents that make the game easy for you, like you're just faster than guys, you can shoot harder, you can just overpower guys, you can play really stupid and have a lot of success. And at the Western League level, everyone's in position, everyone's strong. So the way to create success in the Western League is something completely different. And you even see that in the Western League where guys can get by on straight talent, and they get to the NHL, and then it's like, whoa, I'm having no success. I'm not scoring. And yeah, that's what I ran into there, and that was definitely challenging. You definitely lose confidence in yourself. Uh, and up until that point in my life, I hadn't had someone really be hard on me. Everyone was always just nice to me. And so it was kind of abrupt when I got to the Western League and I had a hard coach that was hard on you about everything. You're giving your best, you're trying your best, and he's just pissed. He just decides you're a fourth line player, you're going to play 3 or 4 minutes a night, and you're going to be in and out of the lineup. So, yeah, go ahead,
That
Rye.
yeah, that's got to be tough too because you know, you go from probably playing 20 minutes a game, you're playing AAA, you're kind of the guy, and then you probably get thrown into a role where you see so much less ice time, and then nerves get there because you're like, holy shit, I only got a couple shifts to really show my stuff, and so it kind of like doubles down on the pressure too, right? Because you don't get that many reps. If you're only playing 4 minutes a game, it's hard.
You don't get many reps, and you want to make the most of your reps. And I found that for like to be able to stay in the lineup, I had to just completely change my game, just turn myself into a hitter, and not like definitely not an enforcer, but someone that's like trying to create some momentum in the game by like making big hits, keeping it really simple defensively. Like anytime I got across the red line, they pretty much wanted me to put it in. They didn't want any type of like offensive risk, taking any chances offensively that would lead to defensive risk. So completely lost touch of the way that I had played and enjoyed playing my whole life, and just kind of thought to believe, okay, well, this is what I am. I guess I'm a fourth line guy. I'm a hitter, and it's what I got to do. And I did that. I went through it, and yeah, never actually broke through that where I was a guy that was playing with a bunch of confidence with the puck. So um, I don't know what would have helped me most at that time, other than maybe before making the jump to the Western League, mastering the level maybe below, maybe like going from like midget to junior A, having some success there, a little smaller jump, and then to the Western League, because the big jump was a lot to take on all at once. And I likely wasn't quite ready to get into that.
Interesting. How is that now being in the coaching role? How is that um, I guess chapter of your life? How's that molded you as a coach?
Well, it's definitely helped me like give guys a lot of chances and freedom and creativity to try to do their thing that they're really good at. Uh, Giving guys somewhat equal ice time, like giving guys that maybe shouldn't be on the power play if you're playing to purely win, giving them opportunities to get reps and build confidence. I do the power play for our team, and we let everybody practice the power play. We let everybody get reps in the games. Some guys, well, it depends. It's up to them. Once they get their rep, are they doing all the things that I'm asking for? And if they maybe aren't having success, but they're listening and they have that coachability, then it I'll definitely give them more opportunities to kind of like work through the nerves a little bit and find themselves in the confident spot. And in the Western League, guys are on the coaches are on the chopping block all the time. If they don't win, they're done. And they're out of a job. They have to move cities. They're looking for a different job. Where here I have a little bit more job security, and it is a developmental league. It's not a pure business league. So I think, yeah, just giving guys a lot of opportunities and really being like gentle with the guys and understanding, like setting the expectations, but making sure that I'm not um taking away from their potential by making them feel like they're shit.
Spot on, man. I mean, gosh, like I think the old school mentality of coaching or teaching or help trying to quote help an athlete it's changed so much in the last decade. I think our age of players growing up probably we're still getting the more hard ass type coaches, but I definitely saw that change when I was associated with the Everett Silvertips, more of a corporate level. But I saw how their coach Dennis Williams, how he conducted himself with the players, and it was very refreshing because he was talking more like how you just talked, right? How leaning into the potential of players, giving them opportunities, giving them the okay to screw up, and that's where I think, at least from an outsider not knowing much about it, I think that's probably the better route, right?
Well, there's definitely some balancing. You have to get them ready for the next level where they might have the hard ass coach still.
Sure.
So you can't be too lenient and too soft, but I think there's good ways to balance it where you're getting them ready. They know the expectations, they know that they have to bring it, and just letting them, if they're gonna do all the things right, all the little things right, they're gonna put in the work, they're gonna show up early, they're gonna show up at the rink with a positive mindset about the day. I've got all the time in the world for guys that will do the little things, and maybe not rewarding the guys that aren't prepared to do the little things that we expect.
That's awesome. Yeah. So talk me through then, kind of from the end of your playing days. I know there's many years up until where we are today with you being associated with Saha and doing all the things that you're doing. Talk to me about that kind of chapter in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly with those years.
Well, it's definitely been a lot of fun. I've certainly enjoyed myself. I Right when I was done playing, I was pretty concussed once I was done in the Western League. So I had my 16-year-old year in and out of the lineup. Had a couple concussions in fights, and it was just kind of a blur. Really tough to get feeling good. Putting in all the work I wanted to, still recognizing that it was expensive for my parents to put me into all these training sessions and hockey camps and skill development coaches. And I really kind of they would have been happy to put me into those sessions and do that kind of stuff, and I knew what it cost, so I wanted to just do it by myself. And looking back, that was not the right choice because I'm working out on my own. Yeah, I'm in good shape. I can bench press whatever 155 35 times. Like, that's great, but that doesn't help you play hockey. Like, you really have to think about what you're doing and train smarter, not necessarily always harder. Like, I think that would have went a long way having a little bit more guidance through that 16 and 17-year-old year. When I was 17, I played all the games, but again, still battling concussion issues off and on basically the whole time, slamming your head against the glass, getting punched in the mouth. It was tough to get feeling good, but I got through high school, and after my 17-year-old season, I decided I was going to go play for the Brooks Bandits in the AJHL just to get a little bit more opportunity and maybe find the love of the game again. And I was in Brooks for about 3 weeks and took another bad hit in the right before the regular season, and was just so dizzy, had the concussion feeling. Uh, Went back a few more days, like really wanted it. I put my whole life into it. Like from the time I woke up in the morning till I went to sleep, I was literally doing everything I could. I wanted to get better. I would have loved to coach myself, honestly. Like I would have really loved it. And that's one of the things that made it hard, but also not as hard having to be done with it because you put everything in. So that initial moment to decide to quit, I knew it was the best thing for my health. And but I can honestly say that I tried as hard as I could. Maybe I didn't try as smart as I could have, but it wasn't for a lack of
Mm.
effort that I didn't have success.
Man.
So I really have no regrets on how much work I put in. And right after that, I basically packed up my shit from Brooks. I drove back to the Northwest Territories. I was there for about 2 weeks nursing a concussion, and I wasn't doing anything. I was just like kind of sulking in my own skin for about 2 weeks. And my auntie actually sparked me. She said, "We still love you even though you're a loser." And that actually it hurt,
Jesus.
but it was the best thing she could have said. So all my buddies were down in Medicine Hat playing hockey still. I decided I wanted to be in Medicine Hat, and I got a oil field job down here for the fall, and moved in with Braden Desjardins. That's where I met Braden, who I work with now. And yeah, just got to work in the oil field, and it didn't take long to realize, whoa, a lot of these guys are pretty damn rough. They're miserable. A lot of these guys I'm working with, they do not like their jobs. They've got great paychecks, but they do not like what they're doing. I'm like, I want to do something that I really like to do. So the easiest thing for me was just to take my Western Hockey League funding for school, and I started doing kinesiology at Medicine Hat College, and I liked it. I had no clue really where that was going to take me or what it was going to be, but I had the free school. I also had some other grants for being indigenous and whatever that were accessible for school. So I was able to be kind of thriving financially while I was in school, thriving, like thriving compared to maybe a
Not,
regular
yeah,
student,
not going into debt is thriving, right?
not going into debt. Exactly. So it was great. I loved it. It was around that time where I met you and Dylan Batzel through Curtis Volk. And yeah, just had a great friend group and went through school for a few years at Medicine Hat College. Really loved that. Absolutely loved that. In the summer, I was doing roofing and also loved that. Just loved to get up there and work. And Medicine Hat College doesn't have a degree program, so I had to transfer to U of L. And that was another one of those jumps that was shocking because you could get away with so much average work at Medicine Hat College, and it was just like, oh, I'm getting A's, this is great, 3.8, whatever. Then you get to university, and they don't care about your feelings there. That if it's dog shit, they're gonna like give you a dog shit mark. So I had to elevate there again, and yeah, ended up getting through school not too bad. So
Wow. Well, something that keeps popping into my mind is like, and I know this just from knowing you personally, but you know how to work hard. Where did that come from? Do you think was it just growing up where you grew up and having to work hard to get the opportunities, or like where did because work ethic is kind of fluffy, a fluffy term that gets thrown around, but like when people have it, and you certainly know when people don't have it. Um, did you purposely try to cultivate that within yourself, or have you just always had that?
well, I think part of what it came from was being from a really small community, and say you go in like I was fairly gifted athletically, so I could win most of the time. If it was track and field, I could win. If it was hockey, I could score a bunch of goals. I could have success. And I just wanted to be on top. and I had an opportunity to be on top a lot of the time because there was almost no competition. And I got used to being on top. So wherever I went, I just had this like desire to do whatever it takes to kind of find yourself on top, and through that you end up fully locked in, putting in a lot of work. Like I look at it the way I'm training for sports. If I can win every day of training, if I can win my sleep, if I can win my nutrition, if I can win the effort I'm putting in, or my competitors putting in the same type of effort that I'm putting in, and being able to just like try to prepare yourself, not really knowing what you're going to run into exactly, but knowing that if you literally give it everything you have, you're not comparing yourself against someone else's efforts necessarily. You're just giving it everything you have to get ready to try to stay on top. So that was one of the things that, look, it was early success at a low level
Mhm.
that made me love to win.
It's addicting,
Like
isn't
just
it? Like, gosh, yeah.
And same thing for you in golf. Like I see all the tournaments that you're winning summer after summer after summer while managing all the other things that you do. And I can see that championship mindset of just like seizing the moment and closing out, just being like a ruthless competitor, and within sport, there's a safe place to do that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So there's that, and also like my family's really hardworking people. My dad worked his ass off with his trucking business. He would be getting up at 6 in the morning, coming back at midnight a lot of the time, uh, just putting in big hours. And whenever he found extra time, he was always um, like he never relaxed. He was always doing something for us or for his business. My mom, the same thing. She was always traveling, putting in massive hours. She was paid on a salary, and she was so into her job. She would wake up at 3 or 5 in the morning and start grinding on her stuff. So just like being in that environment of people that don't work off of 9 to 5, I've done my work, I'm done kind of thing, is just that was my environment. I've had great leaders and bosses. My first roofing boss he played for the Tigers, he played professional hockey, and he just showed me how to work physically. That was one of the things he would say, the mind says and the body does. I would ask him, Rick, how do you get this compressor out of your truck? This thing is like, maybe it's a big gas compressor. It must have been 200 pounds and awkward. And he just says, the mind says, and the body does. And just pushing through the heat and the long hours, wanting to just get it done. Like a lot of times we'd start at 7. That's the earliest you can legally start. We'd start right at 7. We were there before 7. We'd start right at 7, and we would get to maybe 5 o'clock, and I thought, like, I'm done. I've had like 8 liters of water. We never took any breaks. We just worked, drink some water, keep going. And he'd be like, okay, now we'll start the backside. And I'm like, it's like 5 p.m. I can barely stand, and he's ready to just keep going. And my job was to pass him the shingles, and he would nail them down. And if I didn't have a shingle ready for him when he was ready to nail it down, he'd slam the roof. He'd slam the roof. He was like, he wanted me to just work at this like savage pace. So that kind of yeah, just seeing that and being around that really helped show, like, okay, well, like I thought I worked hard physically, but this is a completely different level. And again, it's his business that he wants to have success.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's the best teacher is when you actually see the next level of whatever it is, whether it's work ethic or whether it's skill or whether it's, you level up into a different league or, a national tournament instead of provincial tournament, and you see the competition and you see the effort and you see the skill. It just like opens up another side of your brain of like, Holy shit! I thought what I was doing was enough, and it's not even close, right?
Yeah.
So crazy. So Gavin, talk to me then. And I don't follow this as much as I should, but I want to spend some time on this, talking about how minor hockey has changed. Um, from us playing minor hockey, it was fairly straightforward. I know you had some exposure into an academy, but talk to me through how SAHA got developed, your involvement there, and also how they're associated with Prairie Rose, because the minor hockey landscape is totally different now than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. So Saha had they bought it from the Banff Hockey Academy that was kind of falling apart. I'm not really sure why it was falling apart exactly, but I know that they weren't doing so great there. They were having a hard time getting players there and staff and everything. So Willie Desjardins bought the rights to having a spot in this Canadian Sports School League and moved that to Medicine Hat. And right when it started, Braden asked me if I would come coach, and right away I packed up what I was doing. I was actually speed skating on a sponsorship at U of C at the Olympic Oval, and wasn't making any money doing that, but the roofing in the summers was kind of keeping me going. Anyway, so yeah, so I came to Saha, and yeah, it's really great. It's a really elite place to work. We have really good staff, people that love hockey, that love coaching. It's just a really professional environment that is possible because they pay us like professionals, where minor hockey guys have a different job. That's how they're supporting themselves, and then they're a volunteer coach, or maybe they're getting like $1,500 at the end of the year. So it being our jobs, we're able to put a lot of time and focus and effort into the kids and into our own development and the kids' development.
Gotcha. How much of your role is recruiting players? Like, do you guys have to go? Well, I know the answer to this. Like, out of province. Like, how are you guys identifying players, and then like, are you bringing them into your environment to kind of give them a tour, and they're looking at other academies, or like, talk to me about how you get skillful players into Saha.
Yeah, so Braden does most of the recruiting himself. He's the head coach and kind of GM. We have a general manager that oversees all the teams, but for the U18 team that we coach, he does most of the recruiting. So he just builds relationships with different player agents and scouts and whatnot, and they do a lot of the pre-scouting for our guys, and we can kind of end up with a bit of a short list of guys that we want to watch and guys that we're interested in. Like these Western Hockey League scouts, some of them are watching like over 400 games of hockey a year. And so they've got guys ranked all over Western Canada and sometimes beyond Western Canada, even into Northwest United States. And they'll have a ranking of all these players. They'll already have done interviews with them, with their families. They've contacted teachers. They've done a lot of the background work. So with these scouts that Braden has built relationships with, we he can call them and kind of ask about some certain guys, and then if it seems like it's potentially a fit, then he'll talk to them further and try to bring them in for a few days to come check it out. And yeah, so Braden mostly handles that, and then once they get here, my job is I'm the strength and conditioning coach and assistant coach, and this year I did the power play. Sometimes I'm on penalty kill roles, but yeah, just getting the boys to love being in the gym, to see the results and really thrive off of those results, where they start getting some new muscle mass, some new veins, maybe some improved confidence, and yeah, just keeping them fit and healthy, and really the primary focus is to get them to enjoy and love the work.
That's so cool, man. That's such a good. I don't know if you want to call it North Star, because if they're not enjoying it, they're not going to make it to that next level either, right? And speaking of next level, so the kids that come into Saha, you know, what would you say is the mass, majority of those kids? Are they trying to get to the Western League? Are they trying to play Junior A? Is there like a or is the NCAA coming more and more into the fold now? Where's kind of the dialogue been with players that come into SAHA and then graduate?
Yeah, there's really a lot of different ways guys can go with it. Some of them are now power line technicians, and some of them are getting drafted and signing in the NHL. So
Mm,
there's a lot of different ways they can go with it. And it's crazy because some of the guys that don't make it and end up packing it in, it's not because of lack of focus or lack of effort. It's a lot of it is God-given talent. I wish that wasn't true, but there's a certain level of talent needed, and with that, if they work, then they have a really good chance for success. When guys come in, I think everyone's goal is to make the NHL and make millions of dollars. Uh, and to do that, they just have to have success at every level and keep grinding. I know, like our good friend Curtis Volk, he he was likely the most unbelievable player that I ever played with, and
yep.
he's making some wicked money over in Russia now. But it wasn't easy for him to make those jumps. He had great success when he went to the East Coast Hockey League. He was ECHL All-Star, and then again in the American Hockey League, he had good success. And now he's where he is after playing an NHL game, which was really awesome for him.
It's cool when because a lot of people know Curtis and they just kind of see where he is now, but for you and I being his friends, we've seen like all the shit he's had to go through over a decade to get to where he is, and by no means has it been easy for him. And it's so cool to see him succeed at doing something that he's always loved to do. And then circling back to your point about like there's just some intangibles with athletes that's so hard to put your finger on why they're elite, and that's something that I don't know if you could ever figure out how to coach it into someone. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Some kids just have it and some don't, right?
Absolutely. And Curtis always had that inner belief in himself. Like you knew that Curtis believed he was going to play in the NHL, and coaches could yell at him, put him down. He's way smaller than most guys. They could do whatever you couldn't phase him. Like he just had this burning desire to do it, and nothing was going to get in his way. Like he never lost any focus. Yeah, he likes to have a good time in the summer, but that's good. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it. Maybe there's other guys that are stronger or they go harder in the gym, but when you hop on the ice with Curtis, his focus is so laser locked in focus. He never misses passes. He's just so mentally turned on, and I think that's one of the things that champions access frequently, like yourself or maybe Batzel. We could call him a champion, and other guys we know that have had good success in their sports.
Yeah, and that fire burns bright in guys like Curtis, right? Like the guys that I know that have achieved the highest of levels in the world, like man, that desire and that burn is bright and it's very very evident. It's like almost it's very attractive to watch because you're like wow, like whatever that person is doing, whether it's hockey or golf or whatever the sport is, gosh, it's inspiring. I've even seen it, man, in the corporate world where you get some high level executives and they're just wired differently. They might not even have to say anything, but you just know whatever that intangible is, and you're like, holy shit, like this person knows what they're talking about, right? There's just like a next level to those type of people that's really really impressive, right? Now, talk to me, Gavin, because I wanted to take some time here at the end. Talk to me about your cycling. Talk to me about, I know you're a speed skater, but there's like some desire that you have that's very clear to compete and to get better at that. where does that come from, and how does kind of cycling kind of fit into your busy schedule, and how do you continue to get better at that stuff?
Well, unfortunately, right now, with how busy I am now, shifting my focus to slightly more financial success over the cycling success, it's I don't have as much focus on it as I had before. COVID was a nice time for me to get out on my bike and go outside and hit these reps. And because I didn't have too much experience before that, I just I saw some races that were the highest level in Alberta, and I thought, wow, that's really fast. I want to go give that a shot. I think I can ride with these guys. So kind of like when I was a little kid training, not really knowing what the level was going to be like that I was preparing for, not completely understanding what I needed to do, just doing my absolute best for those couple of years during COVID. I came out and just annihilated the Alberta field over and over and over again, and then quickly I'm provincial champion a number of times, and it feels nice, but I know that there's such a higher level than that out there. It's just where we're located in Alberta. It's the highest around here. So it feels nice. I'm like, oh, this is great. But I'm not like self-indulgent in winning these races because I know that there's guys over in Europe that are much better than that.
Well, I don't think you give yourself enough credit, man, because seeing what you do, and like, the amount of times that you lean into like discomfort, whether it's from training or races, like it's super admirable, and I want you to know that, man. Like, and if you could, because I know we joke a little bit when we see each other at the gym. I can tell that you enjoy training and kind of getting into that pain mindset and like pushing through that. Can you walk the listeners through like how you get into that mindset, and how like when you do feel pain or some tiredness or some discomfort, do you have like some tricks that you pull from that make it easier to push through that pain?
Well, I learned to love it when I was really young in track and field and cross country running, being like 8 years old, and just remember like tasting blood. Like you go so hard you can taste blood. And I'm not sure if there actually is blood or if there's like micro tears in your lungs that or kind of taste like iron or blood or something. And I don't know, like it's just something that it's just a sensation, and it's sharp and it's intense. But if you're if you're prepared to feel whatever sensations come your way, then you have a really good chance for success. And if it like in a sport like cycling, and I just know that when I enter a race, I have the mindset that I'm not gonna crack no matter what. Like I will never give up. And if you have the mindset that your mind isn't gonna be the mental barrier that stops you, then a lot of people aren't prepared to do that. They're not prepared to go that deep. And again, it's just like having the success, repeated success, and the like then having the odd time where you don't win and it just doesn't feel good. It's like, why would I go and kill myself out here and not win? Because I don't feel good after. And maybe at a higher level, I would have to shift my mindset where maybe you're only getting like one win a year. But around here, I'm able to have that success, and I'm doing my first pro race in 2 weeks in California. So that will be a nice shock to the system, and I'm going in with a mindset that I want to enjoy it, and whatever happens, I know that if I win, great. If I don't win, I know that it's gonna spark motivation to be better and to train more.
Yeah, I think there's something, and I don't have this thought fully flushed out, but I'm sure you'll know what I mean. Doing something like, whether for me it's certainly competing in golf tournaments. For you, it's probably cycling. It was hockey at one point, but like when you're fully engulfed in a thing where your brain is activated and you aren't thinking about anything else other than the task you have in front of you, I think there's something that's very very addicting to that. And people that have never had that experience, they don't really know, they can't understand that. But like whether it's golf or cycling or whatever, I think that's why people are getting into like Muay Thai and boxing a lot more, because like that's all you can think about when you're doing that thing, and then you come out of it and it's like you live your life in a different experience almost. It's so strange. But that's where like it's addicting. Like I can't wait to get out onto the golf course and start practicing for a tournament, because it engages a part of my mind that is almost dormant the rest of the year, right?
I completely understand. I absolutely love it when that's what you're feeling, where the focus that's required is so much that there's no other thoughts, there's no sidetracked thoughts, and you can access that focus. And I think that that's something that's extremely valuable. And with us having such long off seasons, it's tough, and it does go away. You don't have the burning desire and the passion every single day, but as long as you're heading somewhat in the right direction, that's going to be able to let you access that again. Like in the winter when it's -20 and I'm done work, maybe I'm not roofing because it's snowy or something, and I have to hop on my trainer. Well, I say I have to. It's because I literally have to do it. I know that if I don't do it, I have no chance to win championships in the regular season. When I'm in the off season, you just have to almost go dark and go through it and do the work that's necessary to set yourself up to be able to have that success again. And it's just a delayed gratification thing to put in the off season, the long, dark, cold off season.
That's right. No doubt. No doubt. Well, I don't know if there's a better way to finish off on than that. And talking about going dark, that's good. That's good shit right there, Gavin. Thank you for that. Well, I certainly, man, I appreciate our friendship and I appreciate your work ethic, because I've never once not seen you like you're always working at something, whether it's roofing, whether it's your fitness, whether it's you're working with the guys at the gym, and just your level of service is admirable, man. So thank you for that, and thanks for your friendship, and thanks for your time today too. Any closing thoughts from your side?
Well, I never got to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and maybe I'll be able to get on here again and kind of flip it a little bit. But like you're an inspiration for me as well. Like I always tell people, yeah, Ryan, he's a realtor. He's also a pro golfer and was a pro golfer for a long time, traveling around the states being a pro golfer. And I see the championships that you're winning. That's super admirable. You asked me to come take a look at your roof last year, and I got to your crib, and I'm going, holy shit, that's Ryan's crib, eh? Like that is I'm not surprised he lives in a place like that because he's working for it. Like another thing that I've noticed in the last couple of years, just how much I see Ryan Weary. I see it everywhere. Like I pull open my social media, you've got all different kinds of things going on social media. I see your signs all around town, sold. Like I see you all over the city all the time. And I love to see that. I think a lot of people are scared to put themselves out there, or scared that someone's going to make fun of themselves for putting themselves out there, or maybe posting too much on social media. But for what you do, like what's your strategy with that?
Well, honestly, man, it's like I see it as, and you would appreciate this too. You know, having, and this is what people don't understand, is having a pilot light of your desire, of your childhood dream go dark, like fail. Like I failed at professional golf. Like to me, that's as bad as anything can get. Like period. So to me, like losing or not accomplishing something that like, or not being successful at something else, that would never even come close to like the heartache and the pain that I went through knowing that I was not going to be a professional golfer anymore. So to me, it's like now it's easy to do that stuff. It's easy to figure out like, hey, what does the consumer actually want? What do most agents in town do? Knowing that most agents don't make it, why the fuck would I do the same thing as every other agent? Why don't I just like not do that stuff to stand out? So that's like kind of the contrarian view to real estate that I take, but I think it's more so like, hey, if people judge me, I really don't care because like I've felt pain of like a childhood dream burnout, and that might sound crazy to some people, but like I'm sure you felt it, man, and we didn't really get into it, but like going home after quitting playing hockey, like that had to have been a tough time. It sucks, right?
Yeah, absolutely, it sucks, but it all translates. Like if
Yeah.
you really, I tell some of our guys that if you really put everything into it and you access that maximum effort and the focus and that light switch that is flicked on, the burning desire for success, if it's not happening in a sport because your time is up in that sport, that translates directly into whatever you want it to.
Yeah. It's
So,
so transferable, right? So transferable.
and great job with everything you're doing, Ryan. Like, I really admire it, and I love when I see your stuff all around the city. I see tons of your signs out on places. You're getting tons of clients, obviously. And yeah, just your reach on social media. Like I don't know how many other people have a podcast and are like committed to this continuous improvement and accessing all kinds of different avenues to be the guy that, because how many other realtors are there in the city?
There's a
I
lot.
don't even know.
There's a
There's
lot.
a lot,
Yeah.
but I know, and it's not just because I'm your friend, but I know that in general, I see your stuff as much as I see anyone else's. And yeah, I just love to see it. I love to see you cruising in the Range Rover. Or is it a Land Rover?
Range Rover,
Range
yeah.
Rover.
Talk about
Range
a
Rover.
couple bad financial decisions, but it's necessary sometimes, right? So
Well, love to see it, man. And thanks for the talk.
thanks, brother.
And
Appreciate that. Good luck. Good luck in California. I'll be following you, and maybe we'll have you on again in a month or so on the other side of that. So
yeah, yeah, I would love to. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing your continued success. So keep getting it, man. Rise and grind, right?
that's right, brother. All right. Take good care, man.
Okay, man.
Thanks for your time again, Gavin. We'll see you.
See you, right. Thanks.